Hello friends, welcome to StudyIQ. Friends, through this video we are going to understand what are general anti-avoidance rules. For your information, these rules have been made applicable to foreign companies in India with effect from 1st April 2017. So let's study deeply what are these GAAR rules basically. See friends, let's look at this term word by word. General anti-avoidance rules. When we say anti-avoidance rules, the word anti here means that these rules prevent the companies from avoiding the tax, the legitimate tax on the income that they have earned in India. And this income is basically the capital gains that they have earned in India. When they wind up their business, when they go from one country to another, bag and baggage, they earn certain amount of capital profit, the long-term profit, the short-term profit. So we are here targeting that capital profit only. We are not talking about the year-to-year profit, that is the annual profit that these companies earn. We are talking about the appreciation in the value of a company over a period of time. And when one company sells off its business to the other company and goes back to its own country, some liability, some tax liability arises which they need to pay to the government of India under the Income Tax Act 1961. Now what these companies do, they create artificial corporate structures to avoid this tax liability. They create subsidiary companies, then secondary subsidiary companies to avoid the tax liability that is arising in India, that is to be legitimately payable to the government of India. The intent of law is different. Intent of providing the income tax exemptions is just to promote the business activity in India. But when they do not indulge in real business activity and they are just indulging in earning the quick gains by selling the company one after the other to the other company, that is when the income tax authorities, they have been given the power under the general anti-avoidance rules to invoke these rules on a company specific cases as and when they suspect that the real intent of the transaction between the two companies is just to avoid tax, and it is not to earn, it is not to do the real business in that country. Now as and when income tax authorities, they suspect such colorful activities between the two companies or transactions between the two companies, they can invoke the GAAR rules, and that is why these rules are called general anti-avoidance rules. They are not specific to any cases. So let's move forward and read these lines. GAAR seeks to prevent companies from routing transactions through other countries to avoid taxes. We will understand these through subsequent slides, guys. GAAR allows tax officials to deny tax benefits if a commercial deal is found without any real purpose except the tax avoidance, as we have studied just now. GAAR contains provisions to stop misuse of treaties that India has signed with other countries for tax avoidance. Now these treaties are called double taxation avoidance agreements. What are double taxation avoidance agreements? We will see here. See, India is having double taxation avoidance agreement with USA and with countries like Mauritius, Singapore, Switzerland and other countries. What these double taxation avoidance agreements entail, if any company coming from USA is doing a legitimate business in India to earn profit, to provide employment in India and to run its business activities, that company, if that company is made to pay tax in USA as well as in India, there will be no reason left for that company to do the business, because if that company is paying 40% tax every year on profits in USA, then 40% in India. For the sake of illustration, we are taking it to be 40%. Then what will the company earn? Just 20%. So this is kind of discouraging the investment, the genuine investment in a country. So the intent of these two countries, the USA and India, is to promote investment, not to discourage investment. Now in order to promote investment, these two countries, USA and India, they signed double taxation avoidance agreement so that one company is charged tax in only one jurisdiction, be it in India or in USA. Now if the company is registered, the head office of company is in USA, then company according to double taxation avoidance agreement will pay tax in USA. Now if any Indian company, let us say Infosys, is doing business in USA but is registered in India, then they will pay tax in India only, not in the USA. So this was how the double taxation avoidance agreements were worked out. Original intent of DTAAS was this only. But over a period of time, certain countries like Mauritius, Singapore, British Virgin Islands, Panama Canal, they have started to misuse these treaties which they have signed with India. Now having gained some information about what these double taxation avoidance agreements are, GAAR rules are, we will proceed to the subsequent slides to understand this phenomena in a better way. Now friends, through this slide we will understand the different ways used by the companies to reduce tax liability, and it is legitimate on the part of companies to reduce their tax liability, because the more tax they reduce, the more their profit would be. Now let us study these ways one by one. One is tax planning, a lawful arrangement to reduce the tax liability. That is short-term gain versus long-term capital gain. Let's understand it further. See, in India, if there is any company which holds shares, if you buy shares in India and hold them for more than 1 year, there is no tax on those investment. The dividend that you earn, or the profit, or the margin, the arbitration that you have earned on these shares, there is no tax at all. But if you sell them within a period of 1 year, and suppose you bought a share of 100 rupees and you held it for just 6 months and the price was double, because in Sensex the price keeps on changing every day. So after 6 months the price was 200 rupees. Now if you sell it before 1 year, you will have to pay 15% tax on this 100 rupees. But if you hold it for more than 1 year, there will be no tax at all. So this is short term is here 1 year, less than 1 year. And if the investment is held for more than 1 year, that is called long term capital, long term capital gain. Any investment, if it is held for more than 1 year, that is long term capital investment, and any gain earned on that kind of investment is tax free totally. So companies can plan it in such a way that they should sell it after 1 year so as to reduce their tax liability by 15%. This is legitimate way of saving tax, because what does government want here? Government wants the investment to be done for longer period in share markets rather than just harping on the speculation ride, bull and bear ride. Government wants genuine long-term investment, and this is why the government has permitted that there will be no tax on long-term investment, that is investment held for more than 1 year. Let's see the second way, tax mitigation. Companies take a lawful advantage of tax incentive. Let's understand this one also further. Plowing back of profit basically means that if any company in India, what happens? If you are earning profits and if you are earning, investing those profits again in the business, there is no tax. Suppose if a school administration is there, private school is there, if they earn some profit from that school by charging admission fee and other things, if they invest that profit back into the business, that profit will not be chargeable to tax. So that is called plowing back of profit. So this is also tax mitigation arrangement. This is also legally permitted by the Income Tax Act 1961. Let's jump to the fourth one first, tax evasion. Tax liability reduced by illegal and fraudulent means. This means that if you are earning 1 crore rupees and you are hiding 50 lakh rupees and not paying any tax on this, now this 50 lakh rupees, they would be called as black money. Any money on which tax is not paid is called black money. Now this is illegal. So this is pretty simple. If you hide any income of yours, don't disclose it under the Saral form or income tax form, that is called tax evasion. Come to the third one. This is at the center of our discussion today. Tax avoidance. Tax liability reduced by some legal arrangement. Remember here word arrangement. We talked about corporate arrangements that big companies, foreign companies, they create just to avoid tax. But it may not be as per the intent of law. See, there are two things, the letter of law and the spirit of law. Now tax avoidance may be according to the letter of law, but this may not be according to the spirit of law. So both the letter and spirit of law has to be complied with. In case letter is complied with and spirit is not complied with, then income tax authorities can invoke GAAR rules here. So this is all about GAAR. We will study a little detail over here. See, corporate structure of multinational companies, the arrangements we were talking about. What happens? See, if there is any parent company, you can call it Amazon. Amazon is basically registered in having its head office in USA, the largest e-commerce retailer of the world, Amazon, right? So in order to do business in India, they create a subsidiary company that is called Amazon.in. As we see on the website in India, that is written Amazon.in. In here means an Indian subsidiary of the Amazon company of US. Similarly, if they want to do business in UK, they would create it Amazon.uk, Amazon.au, AU for Australia. That is how they create subsidiary companies. Now, what happens? There are two types of taxes. Suppose Amazon is doing business in India for 10 years. Every year it is earning 4,000, 5,000 crore rupees. Now on this 4,000, 5,000 crore rupees, let's say 5,000 crore rupees, they will have to pay tax at the rate of, let us assume 40%. That is called annual tax on profits. They will have to pay even if there is some agreement called double taxation avoidance agreement between the countries called USA and India, as we discussed in our first slide. This tax they will have to pay because after all they are doing business in India. That is why they will have to pay this tax. Now what happens? Amazon came with a capital of, you can say, 25,000 crore rupees in India. After doing business for, let us say, 10 years, the value today is 50,000 crore rupees. Okay, now they sell their business to, you can say, Flipkart. After 10 years, Flipkart emerges as the winner in this battle that is going on in the e-commerce field, and Flipkart, they sell this business to Flipkart for 60,000 rupees, you can say. Now, the profit that they have earned over these 10 years, after that profit of 5,000 annual profit, that they have given back to their parent company, that they have transmitted back. After paying a tax of 40%, they have sent back the entire money. How much money they would have sent back? 3,000 crore rupees annually, we can say. That money is already gone. We are talking here about the plowing back of profits that they employed in business here in India, buying computers, creating warehouses. That was not counted in the income, that was not counted in the profit, that was shown as the business expenditure. Now, by employing this business expenditure for 10 years, they created warehouses, they bought machines, they bought delivery centers, they created back-end infrastructure. Now, when they are going to sell this company, this is called capital gain. Out of 60,000, the amount that they are charging from Flipkart for selling their entire business, they invested only 25,000 crore rupees. Okay. Now, 35,000 crore is capital gains. It is on this capital gains that double taxation avoidance agreements are applied. That is, this entire business will go to, this amount will go to USA, because after all, the Amazon was paying annual tax on this income it was earning, and despite having paid the annual income tax, this amount they have been able to earn. You can say there is a capital appreciation. The 25,000 crore that they invested over a period of time, because of the efficiency of Amazon, because of the investment that they plowed back in the India, the warehouses they created, the employment they generated, after that they are able to earn 35,000 crore rupees by selling the entire assets of Amazon in India. Bag and baggage, they are going back to their own country. Now, Indian government, because of the fact that there is a double taxation avoidance agreement between USA and India, will not charge even a single penny out of this deal, because this is a legitimate deal. And Amazon was, by the way, also paying 40% as the rate of tax in India on annual profits. So this is okay. But consider the case of countries like tax havens, what we call as Mauritius, Panama Canal, British Virgin Islands. These countries, they don't have any real asset base. What is happening over a period of time, what has started to happen, that Indian big businessmen, they route their capital first to these British Virgin Island, or for that matter Cayman Island, or for Swiss, that matter the popularly known Swiss bank or Swiss bank account or Swiss economy. Then from that, there they create a parent company, and then from there they invest in India. Now India's money is first going to British Virgin Island, and from there it is coming back. Now, will it be legitimate, or will it be legal, or you can say will it be moral for Indian government to not to charge tax on its own money, if suppose this same deal would have happened through British Virgin Islands, wherein India's own money sent by businessman A. Now you can very well understand we are talking about businessman A here. Now businessman A sends 50,000 crore rupees to British Virgin Islands, which is a tax haven. Why they are called tax havens? TAXHAVENS. Havens, because they charge very low rate of tax. In USA, the US government might be charging 20% on the capital gain. That is, Amazon that has earned 35,000 crore rupees by winding up the business in India, it will have to pay 7,000 crore rupees as a tax in USA and converted into dollars, right? But what if the same rate of tax is 5%? Many of the businessmen of India will go to British Virgin Islands because tax rate is just 5%, whereas in India it is 40%. If you are earning 35,000 crore rupees, after 10 years you will have to pay 40% as rate of tax in India, which they may want to avoid. It is this avoidance that A in GAAR seeks to go against. That is general anti-avoidance rules, because this is illegitimate. You are just, there is no real base in British Virgin Islands. These companies, these paper companies, letterbox companies, they just buy a flat in British Virgin Island, Cayman Island, Swiss bank or Swiss economy, Switzerland. They just operate a flat from there, operate a company from a flat in this Switzerland, and route their entire income into India, and then they earn huge profits in India, and then they go back and reinvest the money elsewhere in other countries. So this phenomena has become a headache for the G20 countries, not only for India. We are including USA also. Many USA investment companies, they are routing their investment through these, you can say, tax havens. Let us study a little deeply over here. Double taxation avoidance agreements, as we have studied, also referred as tax treaty, is a bilateral economic agreement between the two nations that aims to avoid or eliminate double taxation. We have studied it in the first slide itself, of the same income in two countries, so that there are reasonable income earning opportunities for the companies like Amazon, those who are doing legitimate business. If there was no such tax in the host country, that is, they will have to pay tax either in the host country, that is India, or the, you can say, the country where they are registered, that is USA. Such treaties led to round tripping, as we have seen that in case of Mauritius, in case of British Virgin Islands, the so-called tax havens, what happens? The income is first routed to these countries from USA through illegitimate channels. We are going to study those channels as well. And then money is sent to these countries, and from where it is invested. So that is why this has become a major concern for the countries like India, who are investing huge amounts in Make in India program to increase the manufacturing base of our country. We are providing infrastructure facilities like better roads, better shipment facilities, better power facilities. We are creating nuclear power projects, investing thousands of crores. But who is taking away the real cherry out of here? It is the tax haven countries like Mauritius, Panama Canal or British Virgin Islands, because we are not able to charge tax on the income that is legitimately ours. It is our money that is being routed, just being routed through these British Virgin Island or tax havens, and that becomes the reason, because we have signed a double taxation avoidance agreement with these countries. Let's move forward. Vodafone case. This is a very popular case, and from this case only the debate regarding GAAR rules started in India. What happened in this case? See, Hutchison Group was basically registered in Hong Kong, which is a part of China. So this Hong Kong Hutchison Group was parent company. They invested in telecom sector in India in 1990s in partnership with SR company. SR was an Indian company, so it became Hutch SR partnership. They invested funds. After working for 12-15 years, they thought of winding up their business, thought of selling their entire business to the Vodafone company. Now to avoid tax, this Hutchison Group did what? They created a company in Netherlands, okay, and transferred their entire share to this company. And Vodafone did what? In order to buy this company from Netherlands, all these countries are tax havens. They charge only 5% rate of tax. This entire business was in India now. Underlying assets, as we talked about, telecom tower, other infrastructure, the offices or the outlets of Hutch, those outlets were there in India only. Now the appreciation happened in India. But these companies very cleverly, they did what? In order to avoid tax, they created artificial corporate structures or company structures in Netherlands. So Vodafone, which originally belongs to United Kingdoms, created an artificial company or subsidiary company called Vodafone Netherlands in Netherlands, because Netherlands charges only 5% tax on capital gains. And then this Vodafone transferred, you can say, the entire amount, whatever amount 11.5 billion was required to buy out the shares of the Hutch in the India. They transferred the entire amount over here to their subsidiary company. And then Cayman Islands, the Hutch did what? They transferred their shares to this Indian shares to Cayman Island company. Cayman Island again charges 5% rate of tax, whereas in India the rate of tax was 40%, as I told you. To avoid this 40% payment to the Indian taxation authorities, they transferred Hutch transferred the entire shares to their company, telling that it is just transferring the shares to its own company. So when there is a transfer between the own company, tax will be nil. And after all, the tax is here 3 to 5% only. So they paid 3 to 5% to the Cayman Islands, again with which India has got double taxation avoidance agreement. So denying the Indian government the legitimate share of 40% tax on whatever capital gain the Hutch India earned in India over a period of 15 to 17 years for which they operated in India, they denied this benefit to Indian government. Whereas Indian government, why was it asking? See, Indian government provided electricity, all the infrastructure, law and order, courts were there, all these things were there in India only. Cayman Islands, they did what only? They provided that okay, we don't have these facilities, these countries are island countries, they don't have sufficient land, they don't have sufficient customers in the first place. India has got a customer base of 120 crores, and for that matter, our telecom subscriber base is so huge, 600 million. So they used all these resources of India but denied the payment of tax to India. So this is a colorable deal, you can say, as we can see in red and green colors. This is what happened. Now in order to levy tax, charge tax on such deals, Indian government came out with double taxation avoidance agreements, revision of these double taxation avoidance agreements, and then finally, even after the revision of double taxation avoidance agreements with these countries like Netherlands, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands and other tax havens, if some deals slip through such rules and regulations, they will be charged with GAAR, that is General Anti-Avoidance Rules. That in case some companies they still invent some corporate structure to bypass the tax laws, they will be charged with GAAR by the income tax authorities, and income tax authorities have been given a free hand in this, so as to ensure that a threat prevails on these companies which they indulge in shady deals. That is what the intent of GAAR rules is. So this is legitimate. Now let's proceed further, guys. See, these rules were in the first place recommended by Partahsarathi Shome committee in 2012. Final report was given on September 30, 2012. Recommended application of GAAR from assessment year 2017-18, and hence we have started implementing them from 1st of April 2017 only. Why so much time was taken by Partahsarathi committee? I mean, why so much leeway was given? See, over a period of time, this pattern has emerged that all the income coming to India, all the investment coming to India is coming via these tax havens. Now it is our money. If we stop the tap immediately, what will happen? It will be detrimental to the Indian interest only. That is why government gave legitimate time to this money, the money of the Indian corporates which is coming via this route, to rehabilitate itself into India, to come back to India via legitimate or illegitimate routes, so that after a gap of 5 years, we will close this tap entirely. That is why this so much time was taken, and that is the reason why we are not scrapping the double taxation avoidance agreements with Mauritius, because after all, even if investment is coming to India and we are not getting any tax revenue, this investment is at least providing employment to India, employment to the population of India. Suppose Vodafone is coming from Netherlands or Cayman. They are employing so many people in the telecom sector. So the government is constrained over here. Government is not just helping them. Government is thinking about the own economic scenario of the India only. That is the reason government delayed its application. An arrangement, the main purpose of which is to obtain tax benefit, this was the recommendation of Shome committee, would be considered as an impermissible avoidance arrangement, and hence GAAR rules will be invoked on those cases. Why so much concern in the industry related to GAAR? Apprehensions are, guidelines are so wide spanning, so much wide powers are given to the tax authorities because they are general entry avoidance rules. They could be generally invoked against any company, generally against any case, not any specific case. That is why the industries dread that their all investment opportunities, they would be mired into litigation. They would be embroiled into litigation in case any tax authority, they start GAAR proceedings against those companies, because they will have to pay tax worth 4,000, 5,000 crore rupees in India. So the concerns of industry are also legitimate up to an extent, and they have been taken on board by the government, and the government also has taken remedial steps in order to ensure that powers vested in the income tax authorities is not misused. We will see in the subsequent section how. Now friend, under this we are going to study the ways in which the companies try to minimize tax liability. How they do it? Transfer pricing. Transfer pricing refers to setting off price for goods and services sold between related legal entities within an enterprise. Now we will study this with the help of an example. Now let's understand with the help of our Amazon example. Amazon USA is there, and it has set up a subsidiary company in India called Amazon.in, Amazon India Business. Right. Now when Amazon India wants to get some sophisticated technology from USA, they will import, let's say, computers or laptops made in USA from this Amazon, their parent company, and they are getting this kind of machinery from Amazon. Now this machinery in the world market is just worth rupees 1 lakh per laptop, or 1 lakh per any kind of machinery they are getting to give you can say sophistication to their business in India, the handheld machines, the imported handheld card swipe machines that they carry these days. So they are available generally in China or in Japan for 1 lakh rupees. But Amazon India, in order to send more money to its parent company by avoiding tax, it does what? It inflates the price and shows that Amazon India says that I have paid 2 lakh rupees per laptop imported from USA from my parent company. Now what they are doing? They are overbilling, and in the process they are showing this 2 lakh rupees per laptop. You can say 20,000 laptops they imported for their employees, and they are showing it to be higher by 1 lakh rupees per laptop. On this 1 lakh rupees, they are in a way hiding the 40% profit. That is, 40% tax that is chargeable on the profit that is being earned in India, as we had discussed earlier. So this is one way of sending more money via round tripping and other companies. Suppose this Amazon is registered in British Virgin Islands, not in USA. So this is the best way. They will get the same item which is available in the global market for just 1 lakh rupees in 2 lakh rupees. And in a way, they have sent more money to British Virgin Islands. Now this is an Indian money. This money will come back. This is called round tripping to India to be invested back again in India's share market via foreign institutional investors or via other mechanisms. So this is the way. Now whatever profit is earned on this 1 lakh rupees, that will be chargeable to tax in British Virgin Islands only, and the tax rate in British Virgin Islands is just 5%, whereas in India it is 40% for the foreign companies. So that is the tax margin. To take the advantage of this tax margin between the two countries, they resort to such mechanisms. First, they transfer money by overbilling an item. Then they reinvest that money back into the country via legitimate routes only. So this is the modus operandi, the mode of operation of these companies. Now let us read through these lines. Transfer pricing is referred to the setting of the price for goods and services sold between the related legal entities. Related means Amazon, brother sisters. This is called sister concern. Related legal entities within an enterprise. This is to ensure fair pricing of the assets. Now income tax authorities, they do what? They can invoke GAAR over here as well. These are called transfer pricing rules. They are on the lookout always as to what is the global price of the laptop being imported by Amazon.in from Amazon.com, that is the USA company. If the income tax authorities sense they smell some kind of misdealing, or you can say escalation in the price, or they suspect something to be fishy, they can invoke GAAR rules, or they can check the deal entirely as to what is the price, and they can ask the company to pay the price on extra 1 lakh rupees. They pay the tax in India for the extra 1 lakh rupees. That is why these GAAR rules are important to protect the investment interests of Indian government. Now that we have studied the GAAR rules extensively, what are the further steps taken by the government of India? Listen guys, these GAAR rules are a measure of last resort because they instill a sense of fear and apprehension in the industry, as we have seen. Now, apart from that, what the government has done, it has revised the double taxation avoidance agreements with various countries. In May 2016 with Mauritius. What they have done, we will see in the subsequent slide. September 2016 Cyprus, then December the Singapore. Point is, short-term capital gain face tax in India at the rate of 15%. So this revision they have done that now if any company uses tax haven route like Mauritius, Cyprus, Singapore, British Virgin Islands, tax at the rate of 7.5% will be charged by the income tax department, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes. Why? Suppose if this income is coming from Cyprus share is, you can say 15 out of 15%, half the share should be going to Cyprus and half the share in the income tax should be coming to the Indian government. That okay, we agree that investment is coming from Cyprus or Singapore or any other country when they are tax haven routes. We will keep half the tax on short-term capital gains. Like Vodafone type deals, we will want the tax to be paid at the rate of 7.5% in India. It's okay if you are taking away half the tax. Why? Because we can't close the tap, shut the tap completely. It will be detrimental. It will be harmful for the Indian economy. Why? There will be no employment, because at least when the capital is coming in India via any route, they are providing employment to India, as we took the case of Vodafone. It is giving employment to thousands of people in India. Similarly, other companies are also coming through this route. Foreign institutional investors are coming in India and investing in Sensex, investing in the stock market. From there also we are earning some kind of tax. So this is how they have revised the double taxation avoidance agreement with these countries. Now move forward. Insertion of limitation of benefit clause in double taxation avoidance agreements. Under LOB, limitation of benefit clause, foreign investors who seek tax exemptions in India should produce documents that he is a resident of the said foreign country. Example, Mauritius. He has to produce a passport or other kind of UID document of Mauritius. In case he is unable to produce, then benefit will be limited to 7.5% as we have discussed previously. LOB clause is attached by the treaty parties in their bilateral double taxation avoidance agreement. That is, treaty parties are India and Mauritius, India and Singapore, as the case may be. The benefit of tax concession will be limited to such entities, such companies that produces the document. This is the concern of it. An LOB clause in tax treaty generally requires investors to meet certain spending and employment criteria to avail the benefits of the treaty, to ensure that only genuine resident companies benefit from the pact, that is the agreement between the two countries. Now if we dwell upon this last point, they are saying in case the company is coming via Singapore or Mauritius route or the tax haven route, they have to fulfill this employment criteria. Okay, if if Vodafone is coming via Netherlands, do come, you are most welcome, but at least give certain employment to our local people. That is the requirement over here now. So we are balancing this investment in one way or the other. At least you provide the employment or you pay the tax to the government of India. Coming forward to the what steps the government has already taken to allay the fears of the industry. Number 1 is investments made prior to 1st April 2017 will be kept out of the GAAR's purview. That is, there is no retrospective clause, there is grandfathering clause. Grandfathering means if there was any investment that has come to India from Mauritius or any tax haven route, that GAAR rules will not be you can say invoked on that kind of investment that has come previous to 1st April 2017. So this is one thing. Authority for advance ruling. This authority is very important in the sense that in case you are going to have some Vodafone Hutch kind of deal, you can seek the advance ruling from the tax authority that how much tax we need to deduct from one party or the other in case we are going to proceed with this kind of transaction between Vodafone and Hutch. So if advance ruling is obtained, GAAR will not be invoked later on. So if the tax authorities say yes, we are agreeing with this deal, we won't charge any tax from you, then you can carry forward with the deal. This is a nice provision that you can obtain the advance ruling from the authority, from the income tax authority itself. Now the third point is first stage approval to apply GAAR by principal commissioner or commissioner income tax. So this point is basically saying that authority to invoke GAAR rules is not given to any income tax inspector or lower level functionary in the income tax department. It is vested in a senior officer who will be responsible enough as to in which cases the GAAR needs to be applied and in which cases it need not be applied. So this is balanced by it's you can say vesting the authority in a senior level officer and not in any lower level officer. Now the fourth step goes a little further. Second stage approval, that is in case any party is dissatisfied with the first stage approval by the principal commissioner or income tax commissioner, then they can apply for the second stage approval by an approving panel headed by a high court judge, retired or in position. So this is an important thing, that enough safeguards have been given that in case any corporate, any company is dissatisfied with application of GAAR rules to its dealings, they can first of all apply to this principal commissioner. Secondly, if the company in question is not satisfied with the first stage approval given by the principal commissioner, they can apply to the approving panel headed by a high court judge to instill a kind of security that GAAR provisions will not be misused against the companies. So this is what the government has. Now friends, let us see some of the you can say tax havens. One is Panama Canal over here. We will try and understand how the money is transferred from India to these tax havens. We discussed one of the ways is transfer pricing. So this is a sort of pseudo legitimate way of transferring money, whereby the price of a good is escalated and money is transferred. But there is another graver illegal way of transferring money, that is called Hawala channel. How this operates? So this UAE, it is known as the hub of Hawala agents. What happens if you want to transfer 100 crore rupees to Panama Canal? There is a network spread across the entire world of these Hawala agents. Someone is sitting here, someone is sitting here. These are called kingpins, the king Hawala agents. Now they do what? If you want to transfer money to any part of the world, you will approach to your agent and will ask him that I want to transfer 100 crore rupees. How much will you charge? I want to transfer 100 crore rupees to Panama Canal. He would say, I would transmit 90 crore rupees for every 100 crore rupees that you give me. Now he calls up his agent, the king agent in Panama Canal, since the transaction is huge. That is 100 crore rupees is a huge sum. So the kingpin over here, he would ask the sub agent, okay, the money will be delivered to your agent, 90 crore rupees. Now these 90 crore rupees, they would come back to India in one form or the other, would be invested in India's stock market. This is how this Hawala network operates across the world. Wherever you want, you can transfer the money. Even within India, these Hawala agents are there. No one is able to stop them because the network is very lucrative. This deal is very lucrative. For every 100 crore rupees, they are able to earn a cut of a margin of 10 crore rupees. So that is by sitting in a country itself. So this is how the Hawala network operates, and there are various other tax havens. Panama is there, you can search for the other islands. Now friends, to summarize it up, what happens? Black money is first generated and then it is transferred. We have seen money routing is there through transfer pricing, through Hawala channel and through other various means. Now this black money is invested, that is called rehabilitation. It has got rehabilitated where Panama, Cayman, British Virgin Islands and other such tax haven countries. Let us see how the black money is generated and what the government of India has done to curb this practice. And domestically, the government of India has passed Benami Properties Transaction Act. So this is one step taken domestically. We are talking about various steps taken by the government of India to curb the generation of black money, to curb the transfer of black money and to curb the rehabilitation of black money. So domestically we are talking about Benami Properties Transaction Act. If any person is getting income through, you can say, investing the income in the other person's name, be it in the foreign country or in India, that has been taken care of via Benami Property Act. Now to curb the black money generation, Prevention of Corruption Act is there. We are implementing that. To check the black money routing via, you can say, Hawala channel or other channels, Enforcement Directorate is there under the Ministry of Finance, which is always on the lookout to curb or to nab these Hawala agents or to drug trafficking. ED takes care of everything so that black money is not routed in one form or the other. Human trafficking, drugs trafficking, all these activities are looked after by Enforcement Directorate. Now coming to black money rehabilitation, we are signing the double taxation avoidance agreements. We are in a way revising them with the tax havens. So this is an integrated approach the government of India is taking in its fight against the black money in India as well as outside the India. So friends, I hope this video was of help to you. We took an integrated approach to understand the GAAR rules in a better way. So thank you friends. Have a nice time ahead.